How did Daniil Dubov beat Magnus Carlsen 3 times in 2 days? From these 2 tables you can see the 3 victories by Dubov over Carlsen. This match took place in the quarterfinals of the AirThings Masters. Let's introduce the players. Daniil Dubov is Rapid World number 12 with a rating of 2770. He is such a creative player, I nicknamed him Daniil Picasso Dubov in my previous video. He is Russian number 10, and the most interesting thing is he has worked with Carlsen, having played over 100 training games together. He is 24 years old. Magnus Carlsen is Rapid World number 1 with a rating of 2881. He's the world champ, Norwegian number 1. He is responsible for setting up the chess tour from March to September 2020 for the first ever set of online tournaments during the pandemic. Magnus wears his emotions on his sleeves. When he gets angry, we can see that on the live camera during the game. That is exactly what happened in the last game when Dubov won. Very luckily, he mated him, he slammed his laptop and left. He is 30 years old. Carlsen has white, Dubov has black. Knight f3, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, c5, e3, a6, d4, d5, take, g3, knight c6, bishop g2 and c4. Now we can see why Dubov played a6. Trying to go b5 later. By the way, this opening is very interesting because if we go from the beginning, I just want to show you that Carlsen has actually played this a6 move 10 times in his games. He likes to go for this in the Queen's Gambit. So let me show you. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3 and a6. This little pawn move, very useful because maybe black can take later and go b5. Or black can just get b5 later. Back to the game. Castle, bishop b4, knight e5 and castle. Bishop d2, rook e8. Already it looks like Dubov has outplayed Carlsen. Take, now we have this giant cluster of central pawns. This bishop is being blunted by this pawn on d5. b3 and a big decision by Dubov. And a correct exchange because he gives up the bishop pair and plants his knight on e4. Rook c1, a5. This bishop is better than this bishop. It has a future on this diagonal. It's move 15 and I feel like Dubov has played a better opening than Carlsen. Take, bishop a6, f3, kicking away this very strong knight. Take, bishop takes, rook f2. Queen g5, queen c1, time to get the h-pawn up the board. If Dubov doesn't move his a-pawn or his h-pawn, it's not really Daniil Dubov. He always gets these flank pawns into the game. h5, trying to attack the structure. Bishop f1, take, rook b8, take, h4. This rook is more useful than this pawn. You're not really going to waste time defending that pawn. It's always backward. And you've got this opportunity here. King g2, rook takes e3. Getting a pawn back. Rook c8 check. Take, king h7, queen d7. Attacking the f-pawn, let's just push it up 1 square. Queen b5, queen f5, g4. Now Dubov throws in an annoying check because you want to stop your opponent playing this move. So you play it yourself, h3 check. King g3 played. What happens if you take? Then you get mated. Rook takes f3 check. Take, king up. Let's just find another way to check. And then queen h3 is mate. That's why king g3 and now queen e4. Beautiful move, you can't take it because of the pin along the 3rd rank. Queen takes a5, a blunder. There was one way to save the game, but it just looks so weird to retreat the queen in this way. But the point is to get the pawn on h3. Take on d4, check, king g8 and queen h5. So really weird journey. The queen b5 to f1, here, and then you can find another way, maybe back in the game, queen f5 or queen g6, coming back this way. Very strange. But queen takes a5 played. Pause the video now or let the timer run. Can you see how black can continue the attack? The move is f5, threatening and amazing move, just to show you if white plays queen d2, there's a very beautiful checkmate. Can you see it? Beautiful. Queen takes g4, still using the pin along the third rank. That's why after f5, Carlsen took, take back with the queen. The king is just so exposed. I mean, it's almost checkmate. Queen b5. Now, rook e6 was played in the game, but I really like this check instead. Queen g5 check, forcing the king here, and then the rook can come back. And then rook h6, you can't stop it. You can throw in this check, but then you can actually block with the rook, and then the queen can sneak over to the h-file. Rook e6 played, rook e2, no trade, check, and queen f4. Planning to take on h2, also rook g2 is a threat. Queen b1, cool move, just to stop the rook moving, but you just get that king out the way. Queen takes h2 check, king e3. Clear liquidation, that means everything comes off. And it's a very easy victory. Rook e6 check, Carlsen resigned. Because if the king moves, take, 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 push. You get a queen, game over. The final victory will be his luckiest victory, so stay tuned for that. Now we are going to cover a very beautiful victory. Dubov has white, d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, g3. We have the Catalan. Bishop b4 check. If you want to see another game in this line by Dubov, check out a video here. I analysed Dubov against Spanish number 2 David Anton. Knight d2, block, castle, bishop g2, b6, castle. Bishop b7, knight e5. a5, queen c2. a4, gaining space on the queen side. Rook d1, bishop d6, take, take. This is a beautiful middle game strategy. This maneuver is the reason I wanted to go through this game. Knight c4, using the pin on this diagonal. Can't take because you just lose this bishop. And after rook a7, there's a beautiful move here, just knight c6, take, take. And this bishop, I would say, is the perfect bishop. That rook is out the game, you can't get the other rook in the game. And this bishop controls so many light squares, it is a perfect bishop. Knight c4, h6, bishop f4. Rook e8, rook c1, knight a6, a3, bishop back to f8, and retreating to e3. Beautiful knight maneuver coming up. I love this. So I'm going to show all the squares, see if I can remember them. Knight b1 to d2 to c4 to e3 to f5. Now both knights look incredible in the center. Take, knight c6, queen d7, and bishop h3. King h8 played by Carlsen, knight e5. Getting a knight back into the center. Rook takes e5 played. When I saw this, my first question was, why not queen e6? There's a beautiful move here to do with checkmating the king. So pause the video now or let the timer run. Can you find it? The reason Carlsen played king h8 was to get out of the way of knight takes h6 check. Then this bishop will take the queen. But you still do it anyway, knight takes h6, because after queen takes bishop, the knight controls g8, the queen controls h7, so you get the other knight into the game. That's why this is such a lovely checkmate. Knight takes f7. So rook takes e5 played, Carlsen gives up a rook for a knight. Queen here, queen sidesteps, threatening queen takes h6 check, king up, take, take. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge decision. When I first saw this, why is Dubov giving up this amazing bishop for this knight? Well, a tactic. If you take with the bishop, you lose the knight, because then the rook can take the queen. If you take with the rook, rooks come off, well, more pieces have just come off, and white is winning, rook for a minor piece. And you can just continue. Why not put the queen right in the center? White is winning. Queen f3, d4, opening the diagonal, and we see the point of this move. You don't have to move the queen because you can attack the other person's queen as well with rook takes d4. It looks like Carlsen has just blundered a pawn, but no way. Queen e3, queen c6, that's the point. He sacrifices a pawn, opens up that diagonal, but you can block it with f3. Rook e8, queen hides, g6. Coming up will be a beautiful move. Knight e3, queen f6, knight g4. I love this kind of move because the knight attacks the queen, but then you still got your queen hidden here defending the rook. Queen g7, rook d1, push, knight b3, rook d3, queen takes b2, and rook d7. Black is coming back into the game with bishop c5, rook takes f7 check, rook takes f7 check, a total mess. King h6 played. By the way, if king g8 is played, stick around for the quiz at the end. I'm going to show you this bonus variation. King h6 played. Rook d7 coming in, and it's just so dangerous. It looks like it's going to be checkmate very soon. Here, Carlsen blundered, but there is a brilliant move here to stop rook h7. And it is this amazing retreating move. Queen all the way in the corner, which looks like the worst move you can make, but black has a threat here. Bishop is going to take the knight. So the best move, you've got to get out the way or else you're going to lose your queen. Bishop takes e3, queen e1, and who knows what is happening. However, Carlsen checked with queen a1 check, king g2, and bishop takes e3. White is going to win in a few moves time. So let's play the first move. It makes sense to flush out the king. So rook h7 check, king g5. Pause the video or let the timer run. What can white play now? By the way, f4 check is illegal because of this bishop. So what does white play? You get rid of the bishop. It doesn't matter that black is attacking your queen because you are going to attack his king. Rook takes bishop. Bishop takes f2 doesn't work because f4 check. The king can't go to any of the red arrows, so king f6 and then mate in 1, rook f7. In the game, rook f8 played, but Carlsen was under big time trouble. Rook f8 just loses straight away with queen takes bishop check. If you move the king, rook takes b6. All squares, all rows covered. Queen d4 check, king g5. Pause the video or let the timer run. How can white continue this attack? Let's attack the knight you don't have, but at the same time you control another square near the enemy king. f3. Great move. First question must be, if you move the knight, now what? Well, queen e5 was actually mate in 1, but I saw the normal way to checkmate the king, which is you just put the queen opposite the king. But let's just shuffle it over. Queen h4 check, forcing the king to f5, and then queen f4 is mate. But queen e5 is actually mate in 1, which looks a bit unusual, but hey, same thing. f3. So Carlsen decided to defend the knight with f5. Take, and rook c8, trying to get the rook in the game. But now's your chance, for the last time, to pause the video or let the timer run. How can white achieve checkmate in 2 moves? The first move, queen f4 check. King can only go to f6, and a beautiful checkmate here. This idea is actually almost identical to the first victory by Dubov with the black pieces. Queen takes f5 is a beautiful checkmate. Magnus Carlsen, he just got so angry during the live camera feed, he slammed his laptop and left. Dubov celebrated like this, and rightly so. It's not every day that you get to beat the world champion in a match. Time for a quiz. Queen c1 has just been played. Do you remember what Daniil Dubov played here? A typical move by Dubov, get the h-pawn in the game, but also it's a good move just to attack the structure. Next moment, g4 has just been played. What did Dubov play now? The move is h3 check. You don't want white to play h3, so you play h3 yourself. Remember, if king takes, then you're just going to get mated. Rook takes f3 check. Check, check, and mate. After h3 check, Magnus played king g3. Rook e6 was played, but do you remember What move do I prefer here? The move is queen g5 check. It just forces the king to the h file, and then you bring the rook back, and then it will be checkmate. Dubov now has white against Carlsen. What does white play now? Using this pin. The amazing move is knight c4. Can't take because the bishop will drop. And in this game we had this amazing journey, the knight to e3 and then to f5. Knight e5 has just been played. In the game, rook takes knight was played. But do you remember what happens after queen e6? A beautiful sacrifice leading to mate. Knight takes h6. Because after queen takes bishop, the knight guards that square, the queen guards the h7 square, and you get the other knight into the game. Knight takes f7 is mate. Rook takes f7 check, played, king h6, and here is a bonus variation. Why not king g8? It's because of rook takes b7. Because if you take the knight now, you can now take. Take, and it is mate on the back. White to move, checkmate in a few moves. Can you see the next two moves? First move is check, king g5, and the problem is f4 check doesn't work, so you have to get rid of the defender. Rook takes b7. And if bishop takes f2, it'll be checkmate in two moves. f4 check. The king can only go here, and then it is mate. Rook d6 has just been played. Magnus played queen e7 and went on to lose. But what move could he have played here to gain counterplay, to gain a winning attack? The move is queen a5, coming into e1. If you check, queen e1 check is still a threat. Check. We're safe on h5, amazing. Take g6. Can't take the rook because this will lead to mate. Queen e1 check, king g2, check. King anywhere, and then queen h2 mate. Or king in the corner, same thing. And last question. How can white now checkmate in two moves? Very beautiful. Queen f4 check, king f6, and now the beautiful move. Queen takes f5 is mate, using the pin along the 6th rank. I hope you enjoyed the quiz, and thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time. Make sure you hit that bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Thanks a lot, and I will see you later in more videos in 2021.